going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of Music Monday. I'm your host, Dango Torres, and today we're going to talk about something very brief. It's going to be a shorter episode than most today, but we're going to talk about something that just recently happened. Just yesterday, as a matter of fact. Yesterday, I attended the Houston Blues Challenge workshop and showcase, and let me say, there was a lot that I was expecting that happened. There was a lot that I wasn't expecting that happened as well, and I'm going to talk to you guys today about both of those categories that I just mentioned here. Now, Houston Blues Challenge, if you guys don't know, is run by the Houston Blues Society, which I, as of yesterday, became a member of, which I'm glad to say I'm a member of Houston Blues Society because I've been in the blues scene for a couple of years now, and it's a really tight-knit community. It's a very comfortable community. A lot of people, that everyone knows, and everyone knows everyone, although there's a decent amount of people in it, but it's a smaller community when you think about it. So what that was yesterday was people who were thinking about doing the Houston Blues Challenge, including me. That's why I showed up, was for them to be judged, for them to perform and be criticized and judged by four ex-participants in Houston Blues Challenge and sometimes the International Blues Challenge as well. And, it wasn't like, they were trashing us or anything. They were just giving us critiques about our playing, how it could be better, what was good about it, and everything. So I played 3 songs. I played Justify up first, I played Back to Houston, and I played Feeling Down Blues. Those are the 3 songs that came to mind, and those were the songs I rehearsed yesterday morning. What I will say was, I think I gave it my all. I think I served the songs pretty well, and I think, I don't have any regrets. Of course, I received some feedback from the judges that wasn't all 100% good. I'll tell you what they said to me in a second, but, I walked into the building, and I met the president of the Houston Blues Society. He was a great guy, and, we got more acquainted as the night went on. We just sort of talked about, the whole thing, the whole Blues Society and everything, and that's really what sort of tempted me to join. There's a lot of events around the city that go around Houston Blues Society. At the Big Easy, which is like the most well-known blues club in the whole city, has a Houston Blues Society Blues Jam the last Thursday of every month at 8 p.m., I believe. And so I think next month, or maybe the month after that, I think I might be doing something on the 29th of May, which is when the next time it is. One of the next times I'm going to show up to those blues jams, and I'm just going to have a fun time. It's going to be just like everything I've done at Green Oaks Tavern or the normal blues jams I've done at the Big Easy, or Dan Electro's. As a matter of fact, this event was being held at Dan Electro's, and needless to say, it was a very, very, very good event. There were some really talented people there. Some very, very, very interesting people I'd never met before. Matter of fact, it's safe to say I didn't recognize a single person in that room. And it just goes to show how much I've been around the Blues Society, which is not much. Although I've been around the blues scene a lot, I just haven't really joined. I haven't really made the time to join, but their membership pricing plans are very cheap. They're not expensive, and they're annual. I think if you're a musician, you could pay $25 a year. There's a lifetime membership which costs $500. So, and that's probably the best option for you, especially if you're going to be around for a long, long time. But there's a lot of other plans that are pretty well priced. So I yesterday became a member, and I feel a little bit more connected to my city. They gave me this free t-shirt too, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is a good t-shirt. It's comfortable fabric. I love the logo, right? It's the Houston Blues Society logo. Who doesn't love it? And this shirt, it's a little big on me, but you know what? As they say, it's one man's trash is another man's treasure. I like wearing big clothing sometimes, so that's not a problem for me. What the judges told me that, yesterday, I will probably have videos of this somewhere, probably on Instagram. of the performance. But what the judges told me is they basically what they said was, you know, your voice is really good, your guitar playing, your rhythm playing is great, your articulation on your lead notes can use some work, the consistency and dynamics could use some work, and just overall just consistency between rhythm, because I was doing a lot of hybrid picking, you know, a lot of also playing on my acoustic guitar, which it doesn't have the best action, it's not the best setup. Also, I was miking it up with the mics they had there. I didn't bring my pickup, I didn't bring my amp with me. I just brought my acoustic guitar and showed up, which is probably a mistake as far as dynamics go, but I mean, the pickup there is pretty dynamic too. I could use a compressor if I wanted to, but yeah, I just chose to do it the old-fashioned way, and that might have played a part in how I sounded. They also said that I wasn't moving around a lot. They also acknowledged that was probably because of the fact that I was miking an acoustic guitar. Everyone else had like an electric acoustic. You know, this one guy pulled up with the Gretsch Gin Ricky, and another guy had like a Fender Villager or something like that. You know, like a 12-string or something like that. And you know, I'm sitting here with my Fender Dreadnought, you know, just 6-stringer with no pickup or anything, just miking it up and just playing, you know, the then last but not least, yeah. And I was actually asking, you know, one of the before the performers got on stage, the judges were up there for about an hour, sitting in 4 chairs. There's 4 judges. All 4 of them were sitting in chairs, and they were taking questions and answers. And so back a month ago when I signed up for this event, they asked on the Google form, what's a question you have for the judges that will be there that have, you know, had experience with the Houston Blues Challenge. And I put something in like, what is the best, you know, how would I accompany myself if I'm as a solo artist playing lead and rhythm at the same time? Now, of course, I have, you know, an idea of how to do this already, but I always like to hear what other people have to say, just to, you know, get their opinion, get their output. And so this one guy, I think his name was Mark, and he told me, you know, the best thing he likes to do is he likes to just finger pick it, use a thumb pick, you know, like I told him, you know, I don't really use thumb picks, you know, much. He actually came over and showed me a thing or two on the guitar, the kind of pick he uses. You know, he uses these really thick moldable thumb picks you can put in hot water and mold it to your thumb specifically. I was like, yeah, no, man, when I use thumb picks, I bought like the cheap Amazon ones and they didn't really do much for me. But, you know, he was just telling me, you know, whenever he's doing he'll usually use these 2 fingers and use the thumb pick like a flat pick in some cases, and then you'll use these other fingers for hybrid picking. Otherwise, he'll just utilize that thump. Just keep the thump of the the bass notes, maybe add a little embellishment here and there, a little extra notes. And I really, I wouldn't say I directly applied that when I performed maybe an hour later, but when I went home, especially after I received the criticism from the judges about my articulation, I went home and I practiced, just literally what I played that night during that Feeling Down Blues solo, which is what they were referencing, was they want my thumps or my... I practiced it on the acoustic guitar too to get the dynamics down, because this is distorted, and a lot more stuff's going to come out in general. But I practiced that a lot, and just a lot of... Just a lot of that sort of stuff that I was talking about, because that was one of the biggest takeaways. Now, I didn't go to this event to win. I didn't go to this event to be the stud that shocks everybody, that steals the show, to say the least. I came here to learn. I came here to get some feedback and some constructive criticism, which I got, and I'm very grateful for, on my music and on what I can work on. The past 2 months maybe, I have been empty, and I'll say that's probably because I haven't been working on much music. I finished recording Times of Trouble, which is coming out November 7th. I finished recording that in March, like mid last month, and I afterwards, after I mastered it with Roger, and that was it, I set it out for release, and I felt empty for about a couple months. And so what I realized was, damn, I really need to start working on some new stuff in the studio. And I haven't even really gotten to do that much, but what I have been doing is I have been just doing more gigs and doing more stuff. I do have a gig this Friday at the old Humble Distillery Company, which I think the Humble area is actually getting a lot more as far as the live music stuff goes. I live on the north side of Houston, for those of you who want to stalk me. And sometimes I'll go, to the Heights. Sometimes I'll go to just north side, like North Line area. Sometimes I'll be in Humble. Sometimes I'll be in Tomball, the New Caney. There's a lot of north areas there when I'm not going down south or going downtown. There's some good places out there that probably need some more live music. And those are the places that I like to go a lot. Oh, this guitar is shiny. I didn't realize that it was this shiny. I just changed the strings on it. That might be why, but I just changed them yesterday. But there's a lot of places out in North Houston, the north side of Harris County, that they're just starting their live music up there, and I think it's actually pretty cool. Sadie Williams, a friend of mine, and she was the guitarist for the now retired band, the Kaleidoscope Project. Was posting a lot on Facebook about her new jam that she hosts at this place in Conroe, which I never heard of in my life. I think it was a Marshall's Tavern. I don't even remember the name of the place, but it had these blues jams that were, or not even a blues jam, just an open mic that Sadie was hosting. I never been there before. I still haven't. But I've been meaning to go up there just to, see what it's all about, check out Sadie, and see what she's up to. Although I see her every time I go to Andrew's Music to go get something fixed. But I think a lot of the jams are coming back, and what I'm gonna start doing in my next few weeks, months as a musician and blues musician, I'm gonna just try and go as many of those jams as possible, and just sort of see where I can go. I will say, after the Houston Blues Society event, when I left home, left for home, I went, started driving down the highway. I saw a messenger notification, a Facebook messenger notification, and I didn't really look at it much, because I was on the road. I wasn't going to look at it. But I'll say this, through the past few months, I've friended just about everyone on Facebook who has an instrument in their profile picture, and 90% of the time, it's people who live in Houston or who live in the surrounding areas. And I've made a lot of connections through Facebook, to be honest with you. Facebook groups, there's a Houston Musicians Wanted page, Houston Musicians Needed, 2 different pages, as a matter of fact. There's one that's just called I Don't Give a Fuck, I Just Need a Gig. So I've also joined that one. And, that's how you meet a lot of people locally. You just find, your communities on Facebook or online or in person, And I got a message from this lady who I still don't remember the name of for the life of me, and from a few other people too, looking for partnership deals. One of them was a record label that was looking to sign me, and I said no, because I'm staying independent and I don't want anything to do with that. I know a lot of these people would like to promote me, but a lot of these people would also like to do more than that to make a lot of money off of me, and I don't want to just be somebody's reason that they can make rent. I'll tell you that I want to be able to make money for this myself, but I'm doing this because I love it, and they can see that. So, the scammers, they all automatically think, oh yeah, he's not going to give a shit if we just give him exposure, So I really, took that into account. But there was somebody who was talking about a partnership, a very vague word to be thrown around like that, partnership. And I looked into it, and it was like a website this lady sent me about, self-directing yourself, being your own managing team. I'm like, I've been doing that for like 2 years, dude. Like, I don't need this. And it's funny because I scrolled upwards in our messages. I messaged this girl about 7 months ago, seeing if she wanted to be my bass player for Miscus. Not even 7 months ago, probably more than that, like a year, July or something like that, almost a year, 10 months. I messaged her, hey, I need a bass player for my band. Would you be willing to fill in? She said, sorry, I'm really busy with school and band right now, and I just don't think that, our styles blend together very well. And I was like, okay, well said. Wish you luck. And that's just kind of funny how people hit you up with random stuff like that later on. But I guess my takeaways from the event that I went to is I'm not going to the Houston Blues Challenge. I don't think I want to. Not because the application fee or anything. It's literally $50. Come on, man. That's the cheapest application fee I've ever heard. I just don't think I have time for it. I don't think I'm ready for it. And I think I have a lot of work to do as a musician. And I think I'm safe. I'm safe to say that I'm aware of where I stand, and I am glad that I know where I stand in this Houston Blues totem pole of success, somewhere down there, But one of the things that Mark said was you should always surround yourself with the best musicians, or it was either Mark or one of the other judges, because that's how you get better. And that's the first thing whenever they said that. First place I thought of, Green Oaks Tavern. First person I thought of, first 2 people, Chris Castaneda and Paul Ramirez. Those are the first 2 people I thought of whenever he said that. It loops all back around. And they told me, the judges told me, they asked how old I was when I got up on stage. I said I'm 16. And they said, whenever they were critiquing me after my performance, they did it privately. They took you out to the patio and they, all 4 of them sat down with you and talked to you about what was good, what was bad, what you can improve, etc. And they said, some of the greatest blues singers, some greatest blues guitarists come out with, they start out by just sitting in and playing with the better guys, playing with the older guys, learning from them. I'm like, that's what I've been doing for, like a year and a half at this point, and they look at me like, that's good. You should keep doing that. And they said, don't ever quit. I'll tell you what, one of the times I wanted to quit music, about 3 weeks ago, probably less actually, maybe 2 weeks ago, 2.5 maybe. I wanted to just quit music. I didn't think I was getting anywhere with it. I was looking at the numbers on Spotify thinking that was what depicted my entire music career. Really, it's not. I couldn't give a shit if you don't want to listen to my music on Spotify. I realized, that I've been looking at it too much as a game and too much as a competition, when music really isn't a competition. I started doing music because I love it. And whenever I get to those points where I just want to quit, I look back and think about why I started, and where I started and where I am now. And usually that humbles me a bit and just, puts me back in reality, because even if I wanted to quit music, I couldn't just do it. I've got too much shit going on for me in the music world to just quit, and I've already made my mark. There's no going back. If you stop it, then you're not really helping. You're not helping anyone. You're not helping yourself either. You're hurting yourself, as a matter of fact. So, moral of the story is, don't quit music. Be open to criticism, and especially constructive criticism. Now, if somebody's being a dick to you, who gives a fuck about their opinion? But if they're trying to genuinely improve you by providing feedback, then take it, smile, say thank you, and move on and improve. Most importantly, you can take all the feedback you want in the world, but if you don't go home and improve, what does it matter? It's not gonna help you at all if you don't get it in through your skull, or if you don't let it retain itself in your brain. And it's something as a musician you have to learn to do, is take criticism without getting offended. And because music is something super subjective. What they actually talked to me about, as another thing, is whenever I was playing Justify, there was this one guy who didn't know what the fuck I was playing. Right? He said the Justify seemed disconnected. He said the chords didn't really lead anywhere. He said he didn't even know if it was a blues song or not. And I was like, oh, that's all right. That song takes a lot of influences. That's why I played it first, because it was unsure in this setting. Looking back, I probably should have played Metro Blues or something like that. But, I don't regret a single song I played that night. And I'm glad they gave me the criticism that I needed to hear at that point. They weren't too harsh, and they weren't sugarcoating it either. They were telling me straight up, because they knew that I, wasn't there to get lied to. I told them I don't want to hear bullshit. If I sucked, I want you to tell me. If I did good, I want you to tell me that, but I don't want you to milk it. I mean, I'm the sort of guy where I just don't like to hang on compliments because it makes me all fat and satisfied. I think that might be what I was doing the past few months, just going off of attention and everything. And then you start, losing focus of what music's really all about. And it's the passion, it's the love for it, And so sometimes I gotta do things like that just to remember, where I stand. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, just improving and getting better, because you're never going to be the best guy in the room. My name is Dango Torres. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Music Monday. I hope you all have a fantastic May, and I will see you guys on one of the last days of May. I don't freaking remember. Listen, man, don't quote me on the math, but I think it might be May 20 something else. May 25th. Yeah, May 25th, probably. Alrighty, I'll see you guys later. I'm losing brain cells right here. Alrighty, peace.